The Palazzo Davanzati in Florence is one of the few surviving 14th century palaces, and in fact marks the important transition from the more typical medieval tower house, which was tall and narrow, to the later Renaissance palace, which was broad and block-like. And while the building was constructed for the Davizzi family, today it's referred to as the Davanzati Palace, because it was purchased by the Davanzati family in the 16th century, and in fact that coat of arms that you see here on the facade belongs to the later owners. And while the facade of the palace is much more broad than its tower house predecessor, you can still see the emphasis on verticality. And it's broken up into 4 different stories. The ground level, dominated by these 3 large arch openings, and then 2 stories of horizontal rows of windows, and then that top level, which is characterized by a loggia. But that loggia was actually added later in the 16th century, so not part of the original architectural accoutrement. And consider as well that the entire facade covered in this local brown sandstone called pietra forte, and its rough surface treatment, or what we call rustication, becomes more refined as we move up that facade. I'm here in the ground floor loggia of the Palazzo Davanzati, which once served as a place of commercial activity, which, if you think about it, really hasn't changed much over the centuries, where most Italian palazzi have stores and commercial activity on their ground floors, and then, of course, living spaces up above. And this loggia space was not only where the Davizzi did business as both wool merchants and bankers, but also where they could hold important family celebrations and rituals out in the public eye so everyone could see what was going on. Now, you can tell by the ticket booth there behind me that today the Palazzo Davanzati is a museum, and it was opened as such in the year 1910, when it became the Museum of the Antique Florentine House, in an attempt to offer the public a glimpse of what domestic living looked like in the 14th century. The heart of the Palazzo Davanzati is its courtyard, around which the entire palace is organized. This, of course, echoes of the ancient Roman atrium, or central courtyard space, around which ancient Roman homes were organized as well. And the Palazzo Davanzati is complete like an ancient Roman home, with its impluvium, the drain used to collect rainwater that could then be used by the family for both drinking and washing. And as we move up through the courtyard, you'll see a series of cantilevered walkways connecting the various rooms out to the central courtyard, where in fact people could then communicate with each other through multiple floors. And on the 2nd floor of the Palazzo Davanzati, you'll find this magnificent great hall. And while all of the furnishings inside are later additions, none of them are original, it really does give you a sense of what life was like in the 14th century. And one of the things that you can see are these great looking holes, which actually allowed the people up here on the 2nd floor to look down into the loggia to not only see who was coming, but if necessary, of course, hurl down projectiles to defend themselves. And you can also see the well from which that drinking water was lifted up with the rope attached to the vessel that you see here. And while the furnishings might not be original, there are 4 rooms in the Palazzo Davanzati which preserve their original fresco decoration. The first and most famous of which is the Sala dei Pappagalli that I'm standing in right now, the Hall of the Parrots, because you'll note this rather distinctive decorative pattern on these wall frescoes of parrots inside of the actual borders. And then above the fireplace, this giant image of the coat of arms of the original owners of the palace, named Davizzi. One second, almost finished. Oh, sorry. The true sign of class in a 14th century Florentine palace was a bathroom, and that's something that's extraordinary to this particular museum. Another of the rooms that retains its original decoration is the room of the peacocks, because of the prominent role of peacocks inside. And it carries that same kind of decorative theme that we saw in the room of the parrots, where you have these faux tapestries on the lower parts of the walls, and then up above, almost a type of garden view. But in this case, we can actually see the coats of arms of other Florentine families with whom the Davizzi would have been allied. The most entertaining of the rooms is the room of the Chastelaine of Vergy, which, like the room of the peacocks, carries this motif of faux tapestries along the lower parts of the walls. But up above, instead of the garden view, we have the 14th century French tale of the Duchess of Burgundy and her attempt to seduce a young virtuous knight over a game of chess, and all of it ending in tragedy. And like in nearly all Florentine palazzi, the kitchen was always kept up on the top floor. The more practical reason, of course, is to avoid a kind of towering inferno scenario. If a fire were to break out, of course, the people down below would be safe. But the other reason to keep the kitchens high up is to avoid the unpleasant aspects of domestic living, the sights, the sounds, and of course, the smells that would permeate from these kitchens. And the fourth and final of the rooms to preserve its original decoration is the room of the impanate, where again we see this theme of faux tapestries on the lower part and garden views of trees in the upper. The name of the room comes from the presence of the impanate, which refers to the waxed or oiled framed linen used to fill windows in the Renaissance when glass was too expensive. And one of the artistic gems that's here in the Palazzo Davanzati is this 15th century desco da parto, or birthing disc. They were commissioned upon the birth, usually of a male child, and this one was executed by an artist named Giovanni di Ser Giovanni. He was the brother of the celebrated artist Masaccio. And it shows us this typical Florentine game called the civettino, where someone would be smacked on the head by someone else and then had to guess who his assailant actually was. And remember to like this video and to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Rocky's Italy, so that you don't miss out on any of this great content that we're filming here in Italy and publishing weekly.